press conference. If you can give us your perspective of the 90 minutes plus.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you by the presence in this press conference. I think the match basically was what I predicted in terms of its pattern or its basis. This match is played under a lot of emotions, not always the best ones in the head of the players from both teams. It's a derby. Derbies, everybody expect to be the best, well-played matches in the league, but usually they are not exactly that, and that's, I think, what we had. We had not the most, as I see it, not a very beautiful match, where we saw Sundowns with some dominance, but dominance not in the last part of the pitch also, and a team of Orlando Pirates that arrived in a more conservative way of playing, try to manage the game from the beginning in terms of balance, not losing the balance, trying to close the spaces inside, and having numbers then to counterattack, basically waiting for our mistakes. I think we took the game well in the first 20 minutes. Then that fantastic goal that came out of what was supposed to happen by a mistake on positioning, because when we have a two-man corner, we have one player that should be in the penalty spot or in that zone, so that can cover the outside, but it doesn't matter who was, but there was someone that forgot to change his positioning, and we conceded that goal, and that brought some energy on the team of Orlando Pirates. This was clear, brought some disturbance on us. At halftime, I tried to give the boys the belief we need to play a different football than the one that Orlando Pirates plays, because we structure our attacks in time. We need to take the ball and travel together on the pitch to arrive on the last third. Orlando Pirates doesn't need that kind of football. They just find immediately a way to aggress with long balls, so it's a different pattern of game. But we need to impose ourselves by the way we usually train and usually we play. But it's not easy to keep the pattern of a game when you play against a team that starts to stretch and to stretch and to stretch and aggresses with numbers by the outside and by the inside on the spaces on the back of the defense. So we try to balance, to always go on the game, because these games, you cannot disbalance them too much. Otherwise, if you don't have numbers to cope with these aggressions in the spaces, it's also very tricky and you can suffer. So for a coach in my position, and with the resources that I had available for this match, we had to be always balanced, because I knew that if in any moment we would have to fight for a result, I would not have probably the weapons to reinforce the front, and I can be more specific about that. Ikam Reiners entered on the match, but unfortunately he just trained 2 days, so he could not play more than 15-20 minutes in a level that was sustainable for this demand of game. Lemo Motiv unfortunately got injured this week. Temba is injured. Morena could not play because he's injured. Reizinho is with the red card. Teboho is not here. Kutluano, as you found a way to find a picture of him on the training session on Thursday, he has also an injury on the foot. So we didn't have a lot of power in terms of attack. So there's a moment that even we felt, okay, now we can go more, but there was not a little bit, a lot more to put inside. So I think the result is quite fair, considering what we saw. More dominant Sundowns and the Pirates more loyal to some of what we saw in the previous matches. Third match, third draw, same result. It means that the teams are very equal in the moment. They play different, but they have their capacities, and we'll have for sure a competition. I remember everybody that when there was the launch, the PSL event with the launch of the championship, that I said that this championship will have a different story. It will be much more equal until the end, and that's what we're having. So importance of all matches in this PSL, importance of all matches. And next one is already on Wednesday with TS Galaxy.
If you could take questions from the floor. Kotadzo, you want to start?
Coach Kotato from Hope Alive TV. Coach, this was a top of the table clash. Two of the best teams, arguably, in the country playing that are, and with players as well that represent the national team as well. Does this game show as a reflection of what type of football we have in the country and the type of football that we are trying to build as a nation even moving forward?
No, I don't think that we should make a generalization like that. I told you already, it's not expectable. If you go to Portugal and you see a Porto Benfica or a Benfica Sporting, most of the times you don't see the most beautiful matches. So sometimes the football you played is very intense, very competitive, a lot of duels, but then aesthetically or by what you want to see in terms, they are tactical matches. And this one was also a very tactical match from both sides. And in these kind of matches, if you don't play it the way it has to be, you can suddenly suffer a goal and have to deal with the result that you don't want. So I would not generalize because I don't think it was a very well played match. There was we had dominance and we had a clear XG superior to Pirates. We had an XG of 8.3 and Pirates of 0.3. So Pirates would score from a set piece, so it would be almost impossible to score from an open play, considering the XG they had on the match. But was not the best football played by both teams. But I don't take it as a wrong thing because these kind of matches they are like that. And the pitch, as second half went by, start to be difficult also to control the ball. You start to see lots of players slipping but I would not take it as a generalization. I already spoke about the level of football here. It can grow, but it's also growing. It can grow more, but it's growing, of course.
ESPN Africa. Coach, a lot of great coaches say that in the difficult matches, you learn the most about your team. The three matches against Orlando Pirates this season come out of the blocks flying and struggled more as the game has gone on. Does that point to anything that you could maybe adjust to get this team playing better, or is that just coincidence across those games?
Yeah, I think that me and the coach from Orlando Pirates must have the same thoughts. I think that maybe he has even need to have deeper thoughts because I think Mamelodi Sundowns played better than Orlando Pirates today. Anyway, obviously that we learn from this kind of matches because these matches expose the difficulties that the teams have. And I don't want to detail because I will never speak about my players in public. I will keep it for myself. But it's obvious that, especially from our part, we need some more power in the front that we didn't have capacity today. So when you have so many players of your attack out of the team and you look the bench and you see, oops, we knew that it was important to take the players as much as possible in the game to try to score first because we believe that scoring first, and usually it happens, especially on PSL matches when we score first, usually we win 95% of the matches we win. But unfortunately that didn't happen today. It was a fantastic goal from Orlando Pirates in a mistake that we did, and that gave them the equalizer because after that I don't feel that there were a lot of opportunities from their side. But of course we have to learn, and we have to learn that we need to control and to learn how to be able to control more the game in the half pitch. But guys, it's not easy to play against a team, and if you remember the last 25 minutes, 30 minutes of the match, every time the defenders from Pirates had the ball, they just put long balls in your back. Even if when you want to press, you're receiving balls. So it's normal that the team stretches a lot. So the connections then to play are not the same. But look, the best or two of the best teams in South Africa playing very high competitive, very high level in terms of competition this match. Despite it was not beautiful, it's very, 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 very competitive. I think that it's what I expected from the match, with all the respect. I didn't expect nothing more than the pattern of game that we had. A lot of duels, a lot of fights, a lot of second balls. Of course that regarding my team, we have to build this team to have more control on matches as we want to have, and take the ball on the last third and keep it and play on the opponent half pitch. But in second half, I think that last part we did it, but obviously I know that this team has a lot to grow. When the best players will be available, or some of the players that are out will compete with the ones that we have, and availability from the bench, this team will be stronger and stronger and stronger.
Coach, Kamakaro for Soccer Level now. I want to say that we thought the complexion of the league might be different from last season in terms of how it goes. Why do you say that? What makes you believe that you may not win it as comfortably?
No, I didn't speak about us winning or losing. I said that the league will be tough. What I mean is the competition has raised the level. You saw this team of both Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs making a very strong preseason, going abroad to find opponents, bringing the players as quick as possible, making a very strong market. You see this team of Pirates changing players and you don't feel the difference. They can give the luxury to stay out with Sibele, and that has been one of the most important players on the team. And Rele, that last year was fighting for the best player of the league with Lucas Ribeiro. And you don't feel the difference because it's clear that the depth of this squad is very, or much bigger than it was in the recent past. That has to do with the market that was done in summer. And Kaizer Chiefs, I see the same. You saw yesterday they won the game from the bench with the high-quality players entering and reinforcing. Cirino now is going on the bench. So just that's going. It goes along with the question I received about South African football teams are raising the level. So when the level raises, it's obvious that the things will be more equal. And as is clear, we didn't start the season in the best way we should have started, in terms of conditions that we had to start it. So we have also to cope with that. So when I spoke that, I knew that our beginning would be difficult. I think now and only now we start to have conditions to grow this team to the level that we want to grow.
Yolule and Nikwele, then after that we bring it to a close. One of you guys will decide who brings it to a close.
Coach, Yolule, Coach News Africa. Coach, you mentioned a long list of players that are injured, some of them also international players. You perhaps take the positive that even with so many influential players in your team being out, you're still able to hold on to a result against the Orlando Pirates team that was really coming strong, especially towards the end and after the Ebola.
Yeah, it's interesting your question because you are looking also the other way, not just one side. And I agree with that. Of course, that we wanted to win. If you were on my locker room at halftime, you would understand how much I pushed these guys to win this match. You would understand. Because there's no other mentality in myself. Despite people say, "Hey, you coach, you are defensive," that's bullshit. We are sorry. I didn't know it was an abusive word. I'm sorry, really, I didn't know. It comes from Portuguese. Really, I didn't. So sorry. No, really, honestly. So what I mean is, it's not true. We today. We wanted to bring that energy to win the match, and at halftime, believe me, I was very, very hard with my players in terms of mindset, in terms of attitude, because for this match we had an expression that we used throughout the week. Nobody kills an attitude. Nobody kills an attitude. And I went on the halftime and I said, is that the attitude that no one is able to kill? The one we had on the first half after we suffered the goal? Because I was a little bit, what is in your mind, guys, after you suffer 1-1? You want to be brave or you want to feel fear? Because if you want to feel fear, you will not play the level you have to play. If you want to be brave, you can go for the match. And I think they were brave. They could not score again, but they were brave. They fought. They were brave. So, as you said, of course, that when you have Tembazuane, Motobi Mabala, Morena, Nuno Reizinho, Teboro, Divine, Motiba, Mali, Kutluano, and you still have the kids studying to make their exams, obviously the team is not on the same level. But I don't complain because what I saw from my players was character. So I go along with what you said. I think that we saw character. We could have seen better. Yes. Do you believe we will do better? Yes. But, as you say, that probably 2 of the 3, 4, 5 best teams were today on the pitch. So,
thank you. Coach, need to for me against what you just said in the week is getting enough. Just want to follow up from you. Is the project in the task of winning the league still in track?
still on?
On track.
So, who is in the top of the log in the moment? How many teams are in the championship? So we have 15 behind us.
Santos, Lorenzo Santos. One question, please, the three of you. One question.
No, I'm fine.
Sure. Okay, thank you. One question, please, Kepa. Lorenzo Santos, one question.
Coach, it's gonna be difficult.
I like difficult things.
When
They thrive me.
When Basadin came on, and I mean this is not necessarily on him, but on what you said about wanting to have control and balance and so on. But when Basadin came on, he was able to play these balls over the Pirates, defenders, which is most of your teams when you play don't do that. But Basadin was doing that. Is that something that sometimes you feel you have to move away from what you generally?
No, it has. I totally understand your question and why you said it. It could be tricky for me, but not at all. When you have a Tapelo Maseko inside the pitch, how you should serve Tapelo Maseko? Is he a player to receive balls in between lines in the feet and then receive pressure and play 1-against-1 and go over against the two defender central backs that we had in such level today? No, he's a player that we should serve on the spaces. He's a player that needs space to go, and then he can be very strong on that. So we just need to understand which players we have on the pitch and how to play or to get the best out of them. So when that defense went up, we understood that Maseko, if they are up, go on the spaces. If they are low, play in between lines normally. So we just try to get the best we can. And those center backs were starting to get very tired because we had a lot of aggression on them. They had to run up and down a lot. We just try to expose what we had inside the pitch. We always need to relate with what we have. It's like you open your fridge, and you open the fridge and you look what you have inside, and you need to cook. You cannot cook spaghetti alla bolognese if you don't have meat to make it. You need to make another thing. Understand? You need to make. If you have shrimps, you make spaghetti with shrimps. But the way you're gonna cook will oblige you to have another things. For the bolognese, you need tomato, but for the shrimps, you need olive oil so it's exactly what a coach. No, because look, guys, the job of a coach is exactly that: manage the resources. Of course, if you tell me, but coach, if you had Nuno Rizinho to put in the pitch on that moment, no, Rizinho would be a player to play in between lines, receive comfortably with the pressure, rotate, but a job of a coach is extract the best he has from his players in every moment. That's what we're trying to do from the very beginning. I don't complain. I just state that there's a list of players that are not available. I don't complain on the quality of the other ones. The other ones are the best in the world. Believe me, that's how we work. And even if there would be a player that I would not like, I would love him still until the end of my days. So that's the way we see the things.
Coach, just not to be misquoted from what you said or people to get confused, when you spoke about depth of Pirates, do you think that what they did in the market has now exceeded Sundowns' depth, just so that nobody gets confusing?
No, I don't. I'm not saying. I think that what they did was balance much more their team compared to what they had in the past. And nowadays they can change players and keep a lot of pressure on the opponents with the quality they bring from the bench. And guys, I'm here for 1 year, so I don't know exactly, but what I felt from what I had before and now is that their market was able to bring quality players inside the team. If you look and yesterday, so I asked my assistant coach, my head analyst, to make me a list of all the players on the squad, because of course I know the squad of Orlando Pirates very well. And when you see that there are players that last year were so important and this season they don't even put the shirt on, you understand how the team is strong compared to what it was in the past. Because there are a lot of players that don't even put the shirt on. I start from the striker, the second one that last year was playing, to Mbata that doesn't play, to Van Rooyen that is there but doesn't do well. And I could state many more. Even Rele this season, the best or second best player in the season last year, is not playing. So I'm not saying that it's better or worse, because that doesn't exist. Who is better or worse? You need to prove it every day, because according to the availability of players, I'm sure that the coach he wanted to have Mofokeng on the bench, and he wanted to have Sibelebele on the bench. And if they were not on the bench, it's because they are not available. So also his team today was not so strong. I told my players, guys, if we score first, they will not have weapons to score to us. Because if we take the game for the last stages, it will not happen like in the cup. They will not have energy to put inside that can threaten us. and you understood how they tried to aggress us with Tito and with Sipo. And those players will not go on the spaces the way that Mofoken can go, or or a Sibele Bele playing as a winger could go if he was on the bench. So also, coach from Pirates didn't have the weapons to make something more powerful, because the way we were high in some moments on second half, if he had the bench he would like to have, he could also create much more danger to us than he did. And my center backs were getting tired. You saw Keanu struggling. He struggled last match. And what is normal when you have to make so many runs to protect your back, so many runs, that is not usual. It's an effort that is not able or used to do. So he punishes more the players.
Thank you, coach, and thank you, Carlos.
Thank you very much.